New Thought Media Network proudly presents Lindsay Leimbach, Practicing Infinite Possibilities, Fridays at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, 9 a.m. Pacific. And now, here's Lindsay.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to PIP. Thank you so much for being here. All right, let's just start real quick with a question. Here it is. Are you searching for happiness? Breathe it in. Is happiness something that in which you want to bring forth in yourself? Now let's just take that a little step further. Do you know people that are searching for happiness? Maybe it's your children, maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's your neighbor, maybe it's your community. The search for happiness. This is something that we in evolution have this desire to have happiness, that we want to cultivate it, that we want to wake up every day and feel happiness. I mean, there's tons and tons of books on how to handle and find and do and whatever to teach you happiness. Think about all the books you might even have in your bookshelf right now, right? I got tons of them, right? Or then there's all these things that are trying to sell you vacations, right? Or pills or drinks or cars or houses or whatever. If you have this, you will be happy. So we're going to take this deeper dive on happiness right now. And we're going to go and say at PIP, we're going to fall into happiness because it's September, and in California, it's not really fall. It's actually quite hot in September, but in our minds, we think fall starts in September, at least I do. So we're going to fall into happiness for the whole month of September, and I'm really going to dive into it with PIP, practicing infinite possibilities. I'm going to dive into what is this happiness that we're looking for, and I'm going to take the science of happiness and the spirituality of happiness. And what we're going to find out through this whole month is that the science is meeting the spirituality of happiness. It is so cool and so much fun. So explore it with me. Explore it with me. Now, let me see. I'm going to come up and hit my... Please know that I can see your comments, and I want to say hi to Wayne. Wayne up in Canada. Look, here you. Let me show you. Look at that. There's Wayne. Hey, Starshine. You know what that comment does? It makes me feel happiness. And we're going to actually dive into why these comments bring forth happiness in me. When we get validation, when we get praise, it does cultivate happiness, a warm feeling from the heart. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the science of that. So thanks, Wayne, for bringing some happiness into this moment. Now, I'm going to show you before we start on that. Well, let's just go and always remember the ABCs of PIP. No matter what, I want us always to remember the ABCs of PIP. Being aware, that's mindfulness. Being aware in the present moment, taking a breath. Everyone, let's be aware. Where are we? Let's take a breath together. And then realize that you have the power of choice. See, in this awareness, this breath and choice, we're already bringing ourselves into the higher thinking, the higher being of the state of happiness. So this is a real easy tool to do all the way through today and to do forever. I want you to remember the ABCs, being aware, what's going on, how do I feel, be mindful on it, don't judge it, right? Take a breath, get yourself relaxed, and realize you have that power of choice. That power of choice. It is your God-given gift that we have free will and choice. Wow. Wow, that's so awesome. All right, now I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to go back to here. Nope. I'm learning how to do this. Oh, Pamela, good morning. Thank you. I can't hear you. My dad says I can't hear you. I'm hoping that other people can. Dad, I'm not muted. I got thumbs up over here, but thank you for seeing. See if you can get on, because I love you being here. It is so wonderful to have you guys here. So let me see. Let me get back to my banners. I want to dive into the happiness understanding by going into understanding why the science, why our brain is the way it is, and why do sometimes we don't feel happy and sometimes we do feel happy. So let's get into this. Our DNA, I really guys want you to absorb this. Our DNA has not changed over 200,000 years. Wow. So let's think, our nervous system, how our nervous system is made up, how our brain is made up, hasn't changed over 200,000 years. Now, what were you doing 200,000 years ago? Well, I was a piece of energy, I think, but 200, what was my ancestors doing? They weren't doing this. That's not sure. They weren't having the internet. They didn't have a refrigerator full of food. They didn't have a car outside and a fire alarm above me in case there's a problem, and cell phones and all these things. They didn't have any of those. They had air conditioning, all that. They didn't have any of that. Not even something remote like that. Okay. But one thing that they did have to do that is very similar to what I have to do is that human beings take care of their young for pretty much 2 decades, if we're lucky. Some of us got them for 3. Who out there has their kids for 3 decades, right? So much. But we're hoping 2 decades. Get them till 20. We are the only species of animals that rear our children for such a long period of time. Now, realize this. So what we have going on 200,000 years ago, we had to make sure we didn't get eaten. We had to make sure that we had a nervous system that kept us safe. So when a lion's coming, if I make it up the tree, I survive and I need to detect it. But if a lion's coming and I did not on the Serengeti and I didn't make it up the tree, I get eaten. And therefore, I don't reproduce. So now think about that. It means all our ancestors that were survivors, were ones that had really good fight, flight, and freeze response. They were very aware of the dangers in our environment. They got to reproduce, and they reproduced with other people that had wonderful nervous systems that could do the fight, flight, freeze response as well. So therefore, as a human being in today's world, we all have a terrific ability to go into the fight, flight, and freeze. In other words, to feel anxious, to feel stressed, to feel and scanning all the time for problem. Guys, it's normal. It's in your human nature, in your DNA. Now let's go back to what I also said about what science says. We've been rearing our young so much longer than other people. We couldn't just drop our young. So in our DNA, we are also wired to care, to be kind, to be empathetic, to have compassion. We all have that within ourselves. We always hear about the heart mind. This is what I'm talking about. The heart mind, I really want you guys to get this, is in your DNA. It is a gift that has been given to you. So you will take care of your young and take care of yourself. And as a human being, I don't have big teeth. And I don't have big claws, right? I don't have all that. What I have is community. What I have is community. And this is why we're also very much programmed for community and relationships and to work together. So we have this very old DNA that's been around for, it hasn't changed for 200,000 years. And it has a strong bias for fight, flight, freeze, always scanning for the negative, always making sure that you're not going to get eaten. And then we also have this heart mind within us that is built. It is our God-given cellular being to want to care, want to love, want to connect, not to be lonely, to be interconnected like this. And this is the science that we actually have now realized that's reaching into our spirituality. It's validating our spirituality, because in our spirituality, we know that good is in us, that love is capable in everything, that it is your birthright. And it makes sense now to the scientists, right? Right? So let me go on. And now we got the basis of understanding a little bit about the science of ourselves and why our brains can go into fear so quickly, into negative bias, because they're scanning their environment, making sure that they're going to survive. But why we long not to do that, why we long to love and be kind and be happy, is built in within us ourselves. So in the next 5 weeks, I'm going to take 5 different books just for fun. You can read tons of books on how to cultivate happiness and bring them forth, and just some of the principles in those books. And I'm really going to keep doing a deeper dive on us understanding how to cultivate this happiness that we long and that is already inside of us. So can you think of a time when something made you happy? Let's just think about it. What makes you happy? Well, you could say ice cream makes me happy. I went out for the 31 flavors last night. It was so good. But then I ate the ice cream cone and it was gone. And then my happiness was fleeting. So then I was like, am I happy that I ate it? So we got to think about what makes us happy. And then we're also going to explore how to find that happiness, how to cultivate that happiness. The first book that I'm going to talk about is this wonderful book, and why I started with this one, Hector and the Search for Happiness. This isn't a scientific book, but it actually was written by a French doctor who's worked at UCLA and come to the United States and so forth. He's a psychiatrist, and he contemplated in his own mind what makes him happy and what makes his clients happy, and he's traveled the world. So he made a novel. So it's not a biography, it's a novel, and it's written really witty and fun and cute and sweet, but it makes you think about what makes us happy and how do we find, or how do we search happiness. Now, I also want you to know that they actually made this into a movie, and I believe you can get this movie on Netflix. So look it up. It's a fun, maybe weekend movie to cultivate some happiness. It's a quick summer good read. So Hector and the Search for Happiness. In this, he comes up with 23 different little lessons. Now, they're not really lessons. They're more like observations on his travel. He's a psychiatrist in the book, and he searches the world for happiness. But they're more like observations, and they're really for you to ponder. And the first one he came up was actually not what makes you happy, what makes you unhappy. Making comparisons can spoil your happiness. So this was his number one. Think about that. Have you ever had a time in your life in which you were really happy about something, and then you told a friend, and then they said, oh, well, I did that last year. And then you compared yourself to your friend, and your happiness went away. This happens a lot in school, right? Because we're always judging and comparing ourselves. Children go through this all the time. Think about that. Is that, oh, if like for me, I have a learning disability, so school was really hard. And when I got a spelling test, it was really difficult for me. And a lot of times I didn't do too good on them. So when I got a B, I did the happy dance. Woohoo! Woohoo! Happy dance. I got a B minus. I got a B minus. But then I would look over at my friend and she got an A minus. And then I would think she barely studied and I studied a lot. And my comparison with her stole my happiness, stole my happiness. And if you go and you read about spirituality, we have to realize happiness, right, is within you. As the Four Agreements always say, you do your best in the circumstances you're at. I love that agreement. Do your best in the circumstances you're at. So Hector figured that out right away. And how he figured that out is he got on a plane and then he got bumped up from economy and he got bumped up into business class. So he's sitting back and he's drinking his champagne and he's like, oh, this is so wonderful. I just am so happy. Because what he expected was to be an economy, but he got into business class. Then he's sitting next to a man named Charles. Charles is unhappy. And so he starts talking to Charles and trying to figure out, why is Charles unhappy? Well, Charles was in business class, but he wanted to be in first class. So they were having the same experience. They both were in business class. Hector was extremely happy because it was new and it was exciting and he saw that he went up. Charles was unhappy because he felt he went down. So Hector was really happy drinking his champagne and Charles was saying this was garbage. It's this comparison mind, right? Your environment, comparison mind. And then Hector ended up getting worried. He said, oh my God, well, if I go back to economy class, am I going to be unhappy and wishing that I was in business class? See, when you start comparing, instead of being in the present moment, and we all know that the power is in the present moment, our happiness slips away, just slips away. So it's a beautiful first way to start is saying, don't compare. Enjoy the present moment. Allow it to be there. Now, I want to go down. Let's see, I say down because I want to put up my next banner, and that's down. And I want to show you this one. This is number 7, okay? It is a mistake to think that happiness is a goal. Now, where do you think he learned that lesson? Of course, in China. Who was he talking to? Well, they call him a monk, which the way they explain it, it's a Tibetan monk. And the Tibetan monk says this to him. It's a mistake to think that happiness is a goal. Wow. That is very interesting. Sit with that. When you make a goal, like I'm going to go and achieve something over time, does that really make you happy? Is that what really brings you happy? Is it buying the house or getting the ice cream cone, the new car? Maybe momentarily it brings happiness. But impermanence comes in, right? Impermanence, the spirituality of understanding that everything is in motion and changing, and which is a good thing because it can change good with our thoughts. But everything is in motion and is changing. So what what is a goal? A goal is something that's achievable over time. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get a law degree. I'm going to buy a new house. I'm going to go get my ice cream cone. But what is happiness? This is big, guys. I want you really to take this as happiness is a state of being. It's a state of being. And this is what the monk was saying. Happiness is a statement. It is already inside of you, right? It's already inside of you. You don't go out searching for happiness, which is the irony of the name of the book, The Search for Happiness. Because what he finds out, well, I won't tell you. I won't tell you. Well, I think you know. I think you already know. But what he finds out, it's about cultivating the state of being. And the reason why I came up with the science about you guys understanding that we raise our young for 20, hopefully not 30 years, is because the state of being, of caring, compassion, balance, peace, happiness is in our heart mind. It's already wired inside of you. You don't search on the outside. And the truth is, you don't even search on the inside. You wake up to who you already are. You remember. Happiness is a memory that is already yours. It's already programmed. Science is finding out that it's already programmed in your mind. Spirituality, Ernest Holmes, Jesus, Buddha, all the different religions already say that. It's in your heart. It's in your heart. So if we know that it's in our heart, right? I would like to know, how do we cultivate and bring forth happiness? And over this 5 weeks, that's what we're going to do. How do we cultivate and really bring forth our already understanding in our subconscious mind that happiness is there, and we bring it into our conscious mind, bring it into our life, into our daily thinking, and not have it forgotten or buried, or whatever metaphor you want to see. You know, is happiness down in the middle of the onion and you have to peel it back? Well, maybe so, but that causes a lot of crying. So let's not peel it back. Let's just remember that it exists, right? And if you, this is my website. I want you guys to see, centeredmoment.com is my website, and centeredmoment@gmail.com is my email. And I would love to know, what do you do to cultivate happiness, to bring that forward? Do you have a special prayer? Do you have a special mantra? Do you have a special meditation? Do you do things that are creative in a mindful way, like artwork? What do you do? Because I'd like to share what you all do over the next 5 weeks. So this isn't just me and my books saying what these scientists and these books and what I do. I want to hear what you do. I really want to hear what you do. I'm going to just run up here to my comments real quick. Oh, Wayne is in the circle of love. Let me show you this. Yeah, you're right, Wayne. The circle of love. If and when, remember I told you how the brain likes community, right? Likes community, likes to feel that we're together in this, that we take a village. We're hardwired to be together, to want to have relationship, to be in the circle of love. And when we do that, when we go there, when we support each other, then the state of being of happiness arises. Think about when you have family dinners, for most of us, right? Or when you're walking with a grandchild and holding their hand. That's a circle of love. There's the state of love, state of being cultivated and coming up. Right there, right there. So beautiful insight. The circle of love will always manifest the state of happiness. They're woven together. They're the heart mind. They're the heart mind. All right, let me go back to here. So I looked into what some other scientists say. How do you cultivate the state of happiness? Not the goal, because the goal is outside of you. The state is inside of you. And I saw a wonderful neuroscientist And he was talking about two things we need to do. Okay, two things we need to do. Now I'm going to tell you the first one, because goes back to the science of the brain. Did you know, I really want you guys to lean in and listen to this. Did you know that your brain, when you meet someone new, within 30 milliseconds, let me repeat that, 30 milliseconds, I can't even tell you what 30 milliseconds is, right? In 30 milliseconds, your brain decides if they're friend or foe. What? But I'm tolerant and I'm open and I'm loving and I'm kind and I'm all that. Yeah, you're all that. But still, remember, our brain is 200,000 years old in its DNA, and it needed to know a long time ago, really quick, if you should stay, fight, or go. So it has manifested that it makes this instantaneous, goes into the subconscious mind. What you do, of course, your subconscious mind is operating your eyes. You see, you smell, you hear, all that comes in, and it goes boom. Yup, talk to them. Nope, be on your guard. All right, so how do we override that? Because a lot of times in our subconscious mind, what we like and we feel back from way back when, what we like is to see people that are like us, that mirror us. So they might have the same age, they might be the same physique, they might have the same skin color, they might have the same facial structure, whatever it is. We like to see mirror images of ourselves. It's just part of evolution. But that is not the way the world is now, because we realize the mirror image of ourselves is way beyond our physicalness and what we look like on the outside. It's heart. Our mirror image of ourselves is that we're all God's creations. And we need to teach that old brain to let go of those old ideas and remember that the mirror image of ourselves is God. And everyone we meet has God inside of them. But that is something we need to learn how to override. So the neuroscientist said, what you do, this is what he said. He said, listen, you got 30 milliseconds, you've already made the judgment. So what you do, as soon as you meet somebody, in your mind's eye, you wish them well. Someone introduces, or you're at the grocery store, or you meet eye contact, and you're driving, and you're in a stop sign and light, and you look on the other side over here, and you're like, hey, I see that person. Your brain is already judging what category it's going in, but you consciously, through thought, say, I wish that person well. I wish that person peace. I wish that person kindness. And what you're doing is you're planting into your subconscious mind, these people are not foes from what they look like. They are not my enemy. I do not judge people on first impressions. Now, of course, if they're carrying a gun, that's a different thing. But we're talking about when you're meeting people on a normal day, walking around. If you're in the middle of the night, it's 2:00, and you're in the middle of a city, and you're coming home from a bar, then you have your eyes up, because maybe that is not the greatest place to be at that time. So you want to be smart about it. You can still wish them well with some definitely looking around, fight, flight, or freeze mode, right? Some smartness. But on a normal day, we are not in the jungle anymore. We are not in this where we're going to be eaten anymore. So let's go and override that primitive caveman thinking. That caveman thinking, we all have it. Don't be ashamed of it. Don't judge it. Just realize it exists. But practice overriding it. By as soon as you see someone, you say, I wish them well. I wish them peace. I wish them love. If you have a different religious beliefs, you can say a little prayer. You can say it, may you be in Jesus' arms. You know who did this all the time? Mother Teresa. If you've read her stuff, and I just love her stuff, she would always say, I loved everyone anyway, because in her mind, she saw Jesus in everyone. It didn't matter if they're Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, New Thought, didn't matter to her. In her mind, she saw everyone with love. She overrode that fear reaction. We can do the same thing. We can practice it with our brain. You have it now. All right, let's also think about one other way to do it. So what you do is in the morning, you wake up and you go to that gratitude mind and you envision someone that you love very much. And if you can see them, put them in your mind's eye right now and really feel them. Look like you're looking in their eyes with them. Smell them. Honor them. Be thankful that they're there with you. Bless them. And what you have then done is brought forth that heart mind. You're telling your body that you want to be happy. And your body will start responding to those thoughts. What you think about, you bring about. If you think about love and compassion and caring, if you can override that caveman 200,000-year-old programming, you will be cultivating happiness. It's awesome. It's awesome. And we can do it right now. Be here now. Ram Dass, be here now. Be here now. Be here now with happiness. Be here now because the place in which you can cultivate it and bring that state of being is now. Right now. And now again. Okay. All right. Next week, we're going to keep going and diving into happiness. I'm going to just talk a little bit like I did with that book with Hector and the Search for Happiness, Hardwiring Happiness by Rick Hanson. Rick Hanson is a neurologist, psychologist out of Berkeley, and he totally focuses on happiness. And this book is wonderful because let me read just right here. It says the back. Why is it easier to ruminate over hurt feelings than it is to bask in the warmth of being appreciated? Because your brain evolved to learn quickly from bad experiences, but slowly from good ones. You can change this. We can change that. We can learn from good experiences. We do not have to learn from bad always. Okay, so be with me next week. I want to thank everybody. Thank you so much for all the wonderful comments, for showing up and being here. I want to thank New Thought Media Network. They are awesome. Remember, it's a donation, it's a nonprofit, and they bring fabulous ministers to this network. I listen to tons of them. So just, explore around. By listening to them, you're cultivating that state of happiness. Remember the ABCs. Be aware, right? Awareness, breath, and choice. So true when cultivating the state of happiness because it's already inside of you. Inside of you. And if you get a chance, go ahead and check out my website and email me things you do that I could share on the show next week. That would be awesome. Or throughout the month of September about happiness. I want to thank you so much. I am so pleased to be a presenter, a teacher on New Thought Media. I'm so pleased and happy to be a coach and a teacher about mindfulness. What an opportunity to love the world. Have a wonderful day. Until next week, everyone.
On behalf of everyone at New Thought Media Network, thank you for being a member of our virtual family. Your financial contributions help share the New Thought message with people from around the world. Please visit and contribute at www.ntmedia.org/donate. New Thought Media Network, come be you. And please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, peace and blessings.